Previously on Youth Power.
Today we're here in a very special city, Jinggangshan.
I feel warmly welcomed by the kind, gentle, and friendly people around me.
I know young people everywhere are drawing on empathy, tolerance, and love.
Welcome to the second episode of Youth Power, with the theme of the great founding spirit of the CPC guides us forward.
When I grow up, I want to be an entrepreneur.
Let our youth be courageous enough to step into the spotlight of the world stage.
The spirit of Zhang and tens of thousands of others who fought, which we might enjoy life, will always inspire a new generation.
Though we may work in different fields, fight for different dreams, the quality we need is the same: stay empowered.
Welcome to the third episode of Youth Power. The theme of this episode is Gifts of Mystery for Neighborly Friends. Man should be slightly better looking than a monkey.
An exception. Many people are surprised to hear how long I have lived in Beijing. China became my home.
It is something that will long endure into the future.
Welcome to the fourth episode of Youth Power.
Why Chinese people can't fly? You can fly, like, go!
You can fly.
Yeah, exactly.
And make our motherland more stronger and more prosperous.
Welcome to the fifth episode of Youth Power.
If you were to believe or form an opinion about China, firstly come here and practically see for yourself.
Women are enjoying a higher and higher status in today's society.
So we start seeing each other as humans.
Biggest two countries in terms of population in the world. We can definitely achieve a lot together with concerted efforts hand by hand.
Hello everyone! Welcome to the sixth episode of Youth Power with the theme Beyond Labels, Generation Zers explain who they are. I'm your host, Fu Zhijun. These days, a phrase pops up every now and then before us, Generation Z. But what exactly is Gen Z, and how do we portray them? As the first social generation to have grown up with access to the internet and portable digital technology from a very young age, members of Generation Z have been dubbed digital natives. If we are to explore what Generation Z have in mind to navigate through their passions and aspirations, their dislikes and anxieties, to understand how they view the world and themselves, perhaps the fastest way and the best start is for us to get answers from Generation Z members themselves. So in this episode, we have prepared some questions which are most representative with regard to our topic. And we have invited about 1,000 Generation Z members from around the world to give their answers. We sincerely invite everyone in front of the screen to participate and give your opinions as well.
Hi everyone, this is Myrna. I'm the energetic one of the group usually. I love energizing people. I'm like the Red Bull of the group. I love pushing people to their best potential.
As for the Generation Z as a group, I think it's very hard to define us. I'm thus extremely looking forward to the similarities that might come out of today's discussion. Let's go and find out.
I'd love to observe, to engage, and to criticize. I care about this changing environment and this fast-developing world.
I'm very happy to live in a globalized world where my voice could be heard better through different platforms such as the internet.
Hello everyone, welcome to be here.
Hi.
As you know, we are here to talk about the Generation Z.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the term?
We are Generation Z.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then do you think you are a typical member of Generation Z?
how to define Generation Z?
Yeah, that's interesting because that's also why we're here.
Yeah.
Like, I think the whole program is dedicated to the definition or explanation of what Generation Z actually means. But before that, would you like, at this moment, consider yourself a typical member of Generation Z? Mina?
No, I feel like a lot of these things that we do on daily basis, for example, check our phones, post whatever we're feeling, post a happy moment, that's very much Generation Z since it's all like social media involved. But me personally, I think I'm a bit slow in keeping up with trends. And I feel like the most Generation Z thing is keeping up with current trends, like current events and current jokes maybe.
Yeah, what if you like, you are the trend? Like,
if I'm the trend?
Yeah, you don't have to keep up the trend because you're like, because we're born in the age and we are born to be a Generation Z. So I don't think that there is a typical, because we are here to discuss and we're here to define what is Generation Z.
Oh, I like that idea.
Thank you.
Well, I think I am because the way that I get access to news is from social media, which is totally different from the conventional ways for previous generations.
Right.
Okay,
I think
great.
even like the younger generation of Generation Z, like I would say the ones born after 2000, they're called a digital native.
Yeah.
Because they literally don't know how life was before smartphones or like before the internet. So I think it's a bit different.
So we're all born before 2000, the year 2000.
We're like a Wi-Fi. I'm 98, 99,
2000.
Oh, great. I'm sitting at the right seat because I'm 99. So
99.
we're the 99 line, 98 and 2000. Okay, let's see how it's different, like within the Generation Z as well.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so we're here to play a game to make predictions of the top one answer from our questionnaire. So when you are writing down the answer, it's not necessarily your own opinion, but your prediction of the popular opinion of the Generation Z. All right? Okay, let's now take a look at all these choices. Let's see your answers. Okay, A, boy, dog.
I think the only advantage we have is that we are young. Because we like there are many possibilities that lay ahead. That the only positions that we got is youth, and we have time to make mistakes. Because it is very interesting to name because the baby boomer and then Generation X, Z, Y, Z, and it seems that we are the last. We're the last generation because after Z, what is the letter?
It's Generation Alpha.
Alpha, even stronger.
There's even younger generation there.
B is creative and flexible thinking. I think the Generation Z would really agree with this because I think we are living in an era where everyone is flexible to share their opinion. Whether it's sharing on social media or giving a comment, you really do have a big space to share whatever information you want.
Do you think it is related to like between generations? Because I think creative minds and innovation that belongs to like young people. So when Generation X, when they're young, don't you say they're not innovative or creative?
No, they are, but I do think the environment or the society that Generation X lived may not have given them that much space to be as creative as they want as compared to our generation right now. I think there's literally no limits on what we can create or what we want to think.
Yeah, I agree because we have such a great exposure with the help of internet, the social media and everything.
My answer is D because, the reason why the internet attracts me is that I love its decentralized, like bottom-up structure because it represents equality so that the voices of those disadvantaged groups could also be heard. And I think that's why the internet has helped brought so many revolutionary things.
I think as a generation that's born and raised in a world where information technology thrives, we're lucky enough to have a platform to express ourselves. For example, I'm a content creator myself. I help others learn English from music and video games. And I'm lucky enough to have my ideas appreciated by other people. I'm able to show my knowledge and passion with little to no cost, thanks to platforms like Bilibili. We are the digital natives, and we're empowered by the internet to be heard, to be discovered by more people who recognize and appreciate our talent and ideas.
I feel like the biggest advantage that Generation Z has in comparison to all other generations is the open-mindedness of Generation Z and how we allow each and everybody to be themselves regardless of what they look like and regardless of what they want and what they want to achieve in their lives. Right? So they see that nobody is afraid to be themselves. Whether you dye your hair pink, whether you dye your hair black, it doesn't matter. You are accepted for who you are and what makes you happy.
Great. Now let's see the answers from our questionnaire, shall we?
Yes.
What
if it turns red, then none of you have gotten the top one answer.
None of us got
No,
the right
I
answer.
think because this is so objective. We're young. That should be the answer.
This is a very Generation Z excuse. Very defensive.
Sorry.
She just offended
Sorry
you.
for being Generation Z. Maybe.
Okay, so I've now got the top 5 answers in my hand. Let's see it from the 5th one, all right?
We're not even top 5, can you believe? Like our
That's
answers.
young. That should be young because. What is that?
Oh, so it's young. All right. Okay, let's see the 4th one.
That's mine.
That's your answer.
That's mine. We're
right.
both there.
Let's see the third one.
Too long.
It's mine.
That's your answer.
So we're like
We're like top 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, well, we do know about Gen Z.
backwards top 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Then
Okay.
what about the? Yeah, I know how hard your job is. The reason why I didn't choose these 2 answers is that I don't think that although like we have many access to information right now, but because according to my own experience, I have a WeChat official account and I have a Bilibili and a Weibo account. I really want to like be heard by many followers, but I have only 700 followers on Weibo, and I don't have so many people watch my videos. And
You have 700 followers.
Thank
Not
you.
bad actually.
Yeah, I've got 7.
Let's go. That looks a bit similar to the one I picked. I picked flexible and creative thinking. So
You also talked about an open mind.
Yeah, an open mind.
Exactly.
So I'm like midway through the top. So that means I'm like the actual Gen Z.
Right.
Change the light.
Yeah, can we change the light again?
Ready?
I would say I hate all of them. Let's see your choice.
Yeah,
Let's see
share
the same answer. Why don't we start with you?
I always start with the different one.
Who's the host?
You're the host. Sorry.
Let's start with you.
I always heard from parents that your generation is so fragile that so many people got psychological like depression disorder. But I don't think that we as a generation face the same problems as our older generation faced. Because I have heard a very interesting saying that they are facing the problems of to be or not to be, because at the time, like to survive. But nowadays, it seems that we have much more energy and time to worry about our own things, but we are facing the problems of development, not survival.
Yeah, because the world is changing so rapidly right now. We have to face a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that we're fragile, it's just we have to face more.
Yeah.
I think it's basically how you define hardships. It's different than how, let's say, our parents' generation would define it. A lot of people might think that physical hard work is literally hardship, but what about nowadays? We have like mental hardships that come from like processing so much work, and a lot of work stopped being physically made. We have robots maybe replacing us for work, but that doesn't mean that us functioning the robots, us creating them was not hard work. So I do think that kind of pressure is different than maybe the older generation. So it is different, I would say.
Yeah.
Agree.
My neck totally agrees. Have you been persuaded?
I've heard frequently that previous generations thought that they fight really hard to earn the right to choose. However, we are born with choices. Well, I disagree with that because we're still left with the choice to fight for a prestige university, let's say. So
why don't you choose B?
well, I chose E because I can relate it to
What
my
is
own,
E?
own
Like, can we
personal
see?
experience. When I was little and when my parents and I were at the dinner table and they were discussing things at their work, and when I asked things about it, my mom and dad would say, it's none of your business, and I was totally excluded from the discussion. So
How old were you?
I would say in primary school.
But you were young.
But I think it's very important to cultivate, little children's mindset when they were little, so that there won't be a huge gap between university and occupation, because we could know more about what it was like during work.
What if you're the parents? What will you do? How do
I
you
get
answer the
that.
question?
I mean,
It's so difficult.
Yeah, as a parent, you
As
will have this
parent.
tendency to protect the innocence of your kid.
Being a Generation Z, we have something that they don't have, is that we are young and we are energetic. Which is something that they want, but they don't have. You need to go and prove your worth and back up your words through actions to show them that you can do, to earn their trust.
All right, so do you want to change your choices?
No.
No.
I think I
One
stick
last
with
chance.
No.
No?
No.
You sure?
Let's see.
Let's see the light turns green or red,
we'll
all right?
see.
Wrong hand.
Oh yeah!
Wait, it's not only you guys, right? It might not be B, it could be E.
Yeah, sure.
Her face was
Then
like,
what is the answer?
All right, so we know that one or two of you have gotten the answer right. So why don't we start
Why
with
not?
the first
Yeah.
one? Okay.
Sure.
I think we're confident that it's us. That's why.
Let's see.
Oh.
We are right.
You are right.
But I'm confident that E
I
is
got it.
at least a top 5.
Made the list, right?
Uh-huh.
We hate to be called a snowflake generation.
Fragile.
Yeah,
Yes.
fragile. Yeah.
So, I guess my answer would be the second one.
Confident.
Oh.
Oh, so it says
We're not
that
as good
you're-
as the previous
yeah.
generation.
That's
The worst generation.
We've always heard this from our
Yeah, I
teacher.
guess every generation hears that.
What is your answer then?
You're too young to understand this. What?
Yeah, you made the top 3.
Top 3 is good.
Well done,
Great.
well done. We're getting better at this game.
966.
I want to do it like with it.
You did it.
Oh, we're
your
just doing this for
parents,
your own good. I think we've all heard that at some point.
Yeah. But it's not that.
But I don't think it's that like uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Me neither.
Because
of-
sometimes it is true, but they don't want to explain more about that. Why they want to do that?
Yeah, sometimes it's better to communicate the reasons behind.
right.
Yeah. Let's see your answers. Oh,
Oh,
this
now
way.
you side with her. Okay.
You are such a traitor. I do think that with the internet technology and a lot of new types of work giving us access to so much different types of work, I think is why we want to change. I don't think it's a bad thing.
I have heard
Right.
one term that is introduced by a scholar called suspension. That nowadays a lot of people that they are changing jobs, but what they're doing for this job is to gain enough money, and then they can change to what their dreams of what they like to do.
Yeah, I actually find it very hard to imagine that our parents do the same job over many years, 10 years. It's hard for me to imagine such a routine life.
They're the luckiest
We're the
generation
luckiest
having
generation.
been born at a really good time.
Because we face fierce competition, and I think we can be called the luckiest generation yet in terms of living standards, but we're not the luckiest generation in terms of fierce competition.
Why do they contradict to themselves so much? On the one hand, they say that the generation is worse than ever, and then they say that you're the luckiest generation. Well, I think
They're not contradictory, right? You can be the luckiest while the worst.
so. It's they hate us.
Yeah, they hate us. They envy us.
They envy us. But I don't think that, for example, at their generation, like Generation X or Generation Y, when they're young, they don't have like COVID-19. But we have.
But they did have other pretty intense situations too.
Like nuclear
You are
threats.
speaking of the fight for them. No.
It's not that I'm speaking for them, it's just that with this point, I don't think it makes me uncomfortable that much in saying that we're the best generation, because I do think we are lucky enough to live in a world that things are easier maybe in terms of access, for example, to internet. And when you go outside, I don't think that in terms of the living standards, I do think it's a lot maybe stronger than the previous generations. So I do think when they say something like you are living in a good generation, it's not without the help of the older generation making us in a good generation.
I feel like they're entitled to say that, and it's partly true. Right. Okay, now let's see whether any of you have gotten the answer right.
Are you changing it to mine? Oh, he is a traitor.
He is a traitor.
He's back with me.
Let's see.
Traitor.
He is a traitor.
He's back with me.
Let's see.
Okay,
let's see the right
Just
answer.
because if one of us are right, then it would turn green. So.
Oh, if it basically if I'm right, he's literally gonna keep it. But if she's right, he's gonna erase.
Yeah,
with his
right.
Yeah,
right.
fingers.
Exactly.
And he's gonna be like, I knew that.
But it doesn't matter. So.
Let's expel him from the next round. Okay. Okay. Now let's see the
answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. Then who?
I wonder.
I'm preparing this tissue.
He wants to erase it in case it's an F and not a B.
I would take a guess myself. I think it's B.
Yeah, let's ask what's your opinion on it.
Yeah.
Right. Because I am currently taking a serious job. I think I'm the only one among us four. And I do want to quit all the time.
Will boss see this like show? Well.
Okay, now I've got the top 5 in my hands. Let's see it.
Let's see the top one.
Yeah.
I wanna
Okay.
see
Okay.
the
Let's
top
start with
one.
the top one.
I'm ready to.
The traitor says so. Oh, we're the luckiest generation.
Oh, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
We
Oh my
are
God,
the
look
luckiest
at him.
generation. That's really a misunderstanding.
That's so annoying.
Virtual reality?
Oh, like we're leaving actual reality
social
of life
media.
for social media.
It's kind of true.
I don't think so. What?
Because it's not misunderstanding. Like,
Yeah. I
it's
also
kind of true.
agree with you.
I think we can really tell how diverse Generation Z is. That a bunch of us sitting together, we don't agree on the same thing.
I think it's B. Is it? No.
Oh, that we're arrogant and
Know-it-all.
self-centered. It's a misunderstanding. It's true.
Yeah, I agree.
Really? I'm not, like, because I listen to others and I change my answer, so I don't think I'm like.
That's
The
exactly
fact
what
that he's arguing with us right now means
arrogant
he's-
people says. Okay.
What is that?
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm the 6th one. I'm the last answer.
Made
Well,
it
at
on the
least I
board.
made it on the
Yeah,
board.
you made it.
But
Made it.
congratulations on.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure if congratulations to him.
Speaking of this, judging from our questionnaire, the answers to our questionnaire, our foreign Generation Zers chose the 5th one.
Oh, my
as the
answer,
top. Yeah,
just
your
like me.
answer. You answered.
We do not want to be previous generations who work from 9 to 5 and look forward to weekends when in reality they could be just enjoying and doing what they love, investing their time, creating the work what they do actually into something that is more innovative rather than something that burns them out.
I don't know what's it like in foreign countries, but in China, I think the reason why it makes it to the top is because like the lying flat. I really hate that word because nowadays the society is going like a
Lying
rat
flat.
race, 内卷. Yeah. So.
Involution.
Yeah.
Involution.
Involution.
内卷.
But I call it a rat race. It's like
Yeah,
we're,
rat
race, yeah.
yeah, we're getting into a competition with no end. Like, so that's why I like a lot of Chinese students. They're choosing this and the top. That's why.
No change this time, all right?
Oh,
All right.
It will be difficult for me.
Let's start with you.
What is that?
How does that work?
think H is included in C because H is like body anxiety, which could also be perceived as you're jealous of other people's success in terms of keeping your body fit.
You see how every time someone stays a bit with me and then like they're not actually with me?
And yours is D.
It is difficult for me to change this because like nothing.
Yeah,
You can make it into B.
It does take some time to be able to figure out who am I, what's my purpose in life. And for me as an individual, I always think of, from a young age, I studied and read many times the diary of Lei Feng. And I really take to heart one thing he had written in his diary as a young age, like ourselves, that our lives are limited, but serving the people is unlimited. So I want to take my limited life into putting my limited life into the endeavor of endlessly serving the people.
Oh, then who?
It's definitely C.
I think it's so much pressure now because someone, a YouTuber or an influencer could be 15, 16 years old and he's already made a lot of money as compared to someone who's been working a steady job. But then someone who's in school at 15, 16 might think, why am I still in school? Why can't I go be an influencer and make money just like him? So I think
that's what I think.
Yeah, right? So
and I did a good job.
Is that we have an actual case right here. I do think that's something older generation might not understand as well as internet jobs like influencers and bloggers. It's a lot of work. People just think like, oh, you're just posting videos of yourself all day. No, like content creating
planning
takes a lot of work. Yeah.
I really hope this program will make me popular, but it didn't. Like not yet.
Let's see the top 5 answer. I'll start with the 5th one.
Okay,
all right.
sure. What is that?
Money
Money.
issue.
Makes
There's this meme that goes on the internet that says, I don't want blah, 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 I just want to be rich overnight.
I think it is not like they're saying the truth, but they're just...
Yeah, it's just a saying.
Yeah, just saying.
Yeah, it's so funny. I read it as well. They were just like, because I'm a Capricorn, and they were just like, stop looking for relationships. Your biggest relationship is making money. So stop looking for guys. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, guys will only slow down my process of making money. Sorry.
See?
Yeah, sure, because I'm,
I'm right again.
She seems to has all the answers.
A huge gap between the reality and our
the
ideals.
hugeness of desire and smallness of reality. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yes, the body.
anxiety.
Your H answer has arrived. The physical appearance.
I did the best job.
You made
in
it to the board twice. Okay, I see an E change to D.
No. E is the reason
Why are you
why
guys
D
making this so
exists.
complicated? And what's that? Is that lips?
Because you say we can
Because you
choose
can-
one
like, you can
answer,
change
so
it.
this is my only one answer, that is CB.
I'm a good student. I stick
Thank
with one
you.
answer.
I like you the most.
I stick with
Please
one answer.
explain your answer.
I think this is something that I, as a Generation Z, would really complain about. Sometimes I don't think people are that aware of all the information, yet because they need to repost it or have an opinion, they would repost it. So I do think we've also witnessed a lot of situations around the world where I don't think everyone had the full answer, but if you didn't repost this means you're not with us. There's so much creativity and openness in what you can think. You can't think this, you can't think that. So younger generation might not be able to actually think independently. Like, do I actually want this? Do I actually believe in this? Or is it because everyone believes in this, I have to believe in this? So I do think this is something that I would complain about.
I agree.
You do?
But I just want to add, I want to add our opportunity of winning, like, I think a lot of people are not really, they get so annoyed by the overuse of internet slang. Do your friends use internet slangs and terms?
Yeah.
I can't
一把子爱住了。Like I just hate it. I hate it. Like,
I hate it.
like, because they're using the words and terms from others, but it's not like a specific meaning of a language. Because language are used to express the feelings and then express information. But those internet slang, they just express nothing, and
They're just for fun.
Right.
No, but not only for fun, but they're stealing other people's like pet phrase, and then use that as their own. And
yeah, that's a good point. Also, another thing that I have a problem with the internet slangs is because I think it simplifies our language.
Exactly.
Like in the past, we can say a lot about amazing thing, and now we just say like 绝了.
I can't agree on any because whether it's English or Chinese slurs, I always think I'm the slowest to know them. So people can be saying, they're like, Myrna, YYDS. And I'm like,
YYDS.
huh? What? Who?
Yeah. What does that mean?
永远单身.
永远的生.
Oh! You don't know?
No, why? I thought it was like...
seems like you are the slowest.
Next one.
I am the slowest.
She's slower than
Please
me.
explain your reasons.
Okay, and I think the reason why there are so many quarrels, there are so many fights on the internet is that we tend to form clusters based on similarity and then produce stereotypes about other clusters of people. And that's why we don't know how to think independently, and we tend to follow other people's opinions and just go with the flow.
Yeah. Oh, it just reminded me that I didn't explain why I choose C.
I'm not interested. Please do.
Like making fun of everything, because it reminds me of recent news that Li Yundi and Wu Yifan, like I think it's a serious social problems and social issues.
Sure.
But on Weibo, it has turned to be like
entertainment.
Entertainment.
Like a laugh
and they make it as a fun things and to entertain themselves. So I don't think it is a good thing.
What?
Oh no, none of these.
Beautiful pink.
Really nice pink. Is B the correct answer?
Can we change answers again and then make a guess again? Can I?
Okay, please.
Then I turn it into D.
D.
Yeah,
Okay.
D. Do we have D?
Are you sticking with C?
Of course, no. I wanted to turn green.
B. Okay. Do you want to change your answer?
No, I think we
Let's
stick with this.
I accept losing. It's okay.
Let's see D, B, and E, whether any of them have gotten the right answer. Let's see the light.
I am the one of reference.
Oh! I think either one of you got the winning chance.
I think a lot of the conflicts we see online nowadays come from the increasing intolerance of difference. We hate others when their thoughts don't align with ours. We want to be the one that holds the truth. But what we need to learn is that the world's not black or white. There's no absolute right or wrong. Just like in our questions, there's no single correct answer. So I want to quote a saying from my favorite video game character. The world is not black or white, but a delicious shade of gray.
Okay, 3 different answers. Let's start with yours.
Illness. I do think that right now it's something that Generation Z talks so much about and we're concerned about, which is mental health as well, other than physical health. I think we tend to stay away from things that would make us mentally, I would say, sensitive, because right now we're giving more attention to depression, mental illness, and all those things. So I do think mental health and illness is becoming something that a lot of people are caring about more.
Yeah.
So right now they always say, get help, talk to someone. Yeah. It's something that I hear all the time.
Recently, the Ministry of Education in China has listed the mental illness as one of the categories to watch for these teenagers.
That's
and
really
I think that's
good.
a great.
That's very good.
In China, we're talking about this climate change things more and more. Like recently, we're saying that carbon neutrality, because China is going to reach carbon neutrality by the year of 2060, and we're going to reach carbon peak in 2030.
Personally, I also care a lot about climate change, but when I see G, I think new technology is everywhere and it has definitely dominated our life.
Actually, in terms of eliminating poverty, I do know China is doing a lot of projects, a lot of accomplishments that actually foreign countries are taking. I did hear that because poverty is a problem that faces the whole world, not just China.
Yeah.
So I do think a lot of third world countries, I do know that they have taken China's plans as an example for them to follow up for future plans. So I do think that's really, really impressive.
What about the social security? Are you guys concerned with that?
A friend of mine, he's from the United States. He has said about because of the COVID-19, I think it is not only about concerning the physical security, but also like the atmosphere, the environment. When he flew from America to China, he can feel that there is less concern and less fright and less afraid of getting affected by the coronavirus because it is strict with the strict rules in China that we prevent from this virus.
You know you're in good hands. Okay, now we've got the top 5 off the list.
But why new technology is not in it?
Right. That's also interesting because for our foreign responders, new technology was their top 1 choice.
I see.
I represent foreign Gen Z.
That is reasonable.
It's kind of a double-edged sword because on one hand you can increase your productivity with machines, with artificial intelligence, but at the same time you're also limiting job opportunities, right? Like so many people could have taken those jobs, and so many occupations are being taken up by artificial intelligence as well. The more we advance, the more it's kind of like a Pandora's box, right? You open it, you get the good stuff and you get the bad stuff.
I also care about very much is climate change and war. One, for climate change, as we know, the climate change crisis is now more dire than ever. And as some very important meetings just concluded for climate change in the past few days, few weeks, has shown to us that this is something that not one country can do on their own. That all countries need to work together to solve this problem. All people need to work together to solve this problem, change our mentality towards what is climate change, not believing in spreading some conspiracy theories or saying this is fake, that's fake, but really listening to the science, listening to the experts about this. Another thing that I think a lot of us Generation Z care about are if war could happen again, more death, more just bloodshed. We don't need any of this anymore. That's something of the past. Now is really the time, with not just climate change and the idea of trying to prevent war, but in all aspects of truly trying to move forward in developing a much more new type of international relations amongst countries, especially the major powers of the world, as to further the building of a community of shared future for mankind in which all people of the world, all countries of the world can coexist peacefully together. We can all live in a win-win type of a situation in our global society.
Yeah, speaking of these new things, how do you get your daily news?
From China Daily.
Yeah, from China Daily.
Of course.
Get the daily news of China from China
Daily. A lot of the news we get actually isn't even from news platforms, it's from people reposting them on other social media accounts.
WeChat moment.
You may not actually open the news, but you do see a lot of people posting about it and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go check it. Yeah.
But it has problems of fake news.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Yeah, days ago when EDG. When EDG got championship, I got that news from my WeChat moment.
Same. I didn't even know what it was until I opened my mouth.
I didn't know that. There's a lot of EDG. I thought it was like egg. Like what does egg down? So.
Okay, so we as a Generation Z like to stay on top of the news. Is there a specific area of news that you're particularly interested about that you will follow on a daily basis?
You are majoring journalism.
Recently, I watched a lot of late night TV shows, and a lot of the hosts talked about American politics.
Yeah, I love these late night American talk shows a lot.
Like recently, I care about the virtual meeting with President Xi and President Joe Biden. And it is such a big progress that we meet each other and we are coexist in a peace. It's really significant. And not only of the hard news, but also social news I do care about. Have you heard about the social news of a poor Tsinghua student? Right. He doesn't have enough money when he entered the university. A lot of people helped him and he get to a specific position, and now he is donating his money back into the society. Because the news are now like posted in our WeChat moment, and we just view the news in our WeChat.
What are you concerned about most?
Well, I've never really been a big fan of keeping up with politics, but because I do study law, so it is required from my major. I have this class called International Law, and my professor, literally every class, he would call on your name and ask you, what is the most recent news about international law that happened? And let's say I did my preparation. I was like, yeah, day before yesterday, the situation between and then he's like, no, that's too old. Did you not read the news this morning?
I'm a big animal lover, so I'm pretty concerned that recently we're trying to legislate the first law
changed,
against animal cruelty, which I'm pretty excited about.
And recently I had an interview with Tatala. She just mentioned that she has done a lot of work of like writing curriculum of sex education and recommended to schools, but a lot of the schools has rejected the proposal because they don't have time to put sex education on board.
But I do think sex education in general is a sensitive topic that a lot of people don't want to talk about too early. But then if you don't talk about it too early, it might be too late. So I think that's the difference between how people really think whether or not sex education should be in school education system.
Exactly, and how much to be taught.
How much to talk about it,
Then why not choose B?
Because I think mental support is very, very important. Mental health could be a class in school, not to teach you, for example, how not to be depressed or how to prevent it, but giving you tips on when you're feeling low, what you can do, when you're feeling anxious, what you can do.
Well, I chose D because I think there's a huge gap between what you are taught in school and what you should learn in your work. And we could bridge that gap by adding more classes about how you should behave in your working class, in your work, or how to deal with real life situations in school, which is totally important.
Yeah. I agree. Like a lot of people, like just like me, when I like almost graduated from the university, I just don't know what to do. Like I just don't want to get to work so quickly, so I choose to read the master degree. Like it's an opportunity, but also a chance for me to like get away from the pressure of work, the pressure of no play.
The pressure of 996.
Also, I think sometimes we have this tendency to stay away from work because it's unknown. It's not like it's not something that's necessarily scary, but just because we know so little about it at school, that we tend to shy away.
Yeah, I think school teaches you IQ, but I do think work EQ is also really important.
Yeah,
emotional
it's hugely important.
Intelligence behind it. So I do think if schools can invite some entrepreneurs, some CEOs, even some normal working class people to come give a speech, give some education, I think that would be really useful.
Yeah, now the question is, which one? Sex
you are
education. It's not only sex education, it's also what's our view of the romantic love.
Yeah.
Do you think we need more classes on that?
Well, I heard that some university has a course called relationship, but it's so difficult. I think the homework is so difficult to judge.
What's the homework?
Like get into a relationship.
What?
And I think it's so difficult to judge whether like she get into so many times of a relationship can get a high grade, or it can persist with one romance that could get a high grade.
I don't think romance is something that could be
taught in a class.
Nor relationships. It's so different for everyone.
And it couldn't be judged by others.
Yeah,
I think.
for sure.
We can tell right from wrong in terms of relationship.
As for me, I don't think this thing about a romantic relationship is about getting you into one or out of one, but how you deal with it when you're in one.
Yeah.
Like, what is a healthy relationship?
When speaking of intimacy, I'm actually very curious about why there are so many people who are afraid of close relationships. Like, many people are afraid of being trapped in it.
Yeah, people are afraid of commitment.
We must reach far beyond our own lifespans. We must think not as individuals, but as a species. Do not Go gently into that people.
Facebook has changed its name into Meta.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe in 3050, we will live in a world that is more like what is described in Terminator, but not in 2050.
Like for example, the graduation ceremony of Communication University of China. Because of the COVID-19, we have moved the graduation ceremony into a cyberspace. We created a Minecraft. So like every one of the graduates can log into the Minecraft and they have their own identity, they have their own avatar, and they can attend the ceremony in the cyberspace, just like the meta universe.
I would say this is the answer that people might have picked from voting most. It's what I think the young generation would pick, but I don't fully agree with that robots can replace all humans. I do think a vast majority of jobs could be replaced by humans, but in my opinion, humans are still needed for specific jobs. We still need the human contact. But I am very thankful for a lot of robotics. I did hear that in China, actually, the population of older people is increasing and the younger generation doesn't have time to cut work and go help older people. So I did hear a robot was created to help lift the old person, help feed them, help them video call their parents. So I do think robots are a very, very good thing. It's very helpful, but whether or not they can replace humans in general, I don't know. We'll see.
Right. At least one of you got one right.
Her, which means you can actually have a relationship with an AI.
I think it's weird to be around with.
But there are a lot
like I'm marrying my cell phone.
Yeah.
No, but it won't actually be your cell phone. It would be like
a
handsome looking cell phone. Yeah.
That's scary.
That is scary, actually.
I'm okay with that. Okay, please, next one.
Is that mine? Let me see.
Is that yours?
The reason I'm not on this list because this movie, probably Generation Z never watched it.
I'll be back.
A show of answers. CCH.
Hey, we got the same thing again.
Great. Okay. We'll start with you.
You can elbow it. I'm sorry?
Start with C.
Oh,
why do you choose
accepting the ordinary me. I think this is the generation of embracing self-love and making sure people accept you for who you are. And I think that this is the philosophy that Generation Z is going, that I am me, whether or not you understand it, I still stay true to myself because I don't know how to be someone other than me.
Why is the word ordinary?
Ordinary, which means not to change yourself.
Me as the way I am.
Yeah, to like fit in some specific type of criteria.
It is better to say accept me, and instead of saying accept the ordinary
me. Like, what is the ordinary?
I think we should accept the special me.
I think there's a paradox about Gen Z is that many young people think that it's really important to keep healthy, so they bought a lot of healthy food, while they stay.
I keep my thermos with me all the time.
And they stay up late frequently. So it's a paradox, but it's something that we do believe is really important. Keeping healthy.
Right.
We've got gochi in our bottles.
Well, I know that.
Oh, great. Green light again.
Nice.
C or H.
I'm not that curious anymore. It's green, whatever.
At least we made it to the list.
Yeah.
Oh, keeping healthy.
Keeping healthy.
Keeping healthy, good.
And I hope that keeping healthy could be
Higher
paid more
up.
attention to.
I know you go to bed pretty early.
Oh yeah, and wake up pretty early
When?
too.
Interesting.
From 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Like, I
When
go
you
to
get
bed.
up?
6 to 7.
Let's see your answer. DEC.
A lot of my friends have told me that they really hate boys who are really confident about themselves while actually are not. So I guess that's one of the most horrible things.
就是他明明为什么看起来那么普通，但是他却可以那么自信。
I wish everyone can gain more confidence.
Yeah, confidence is
ordinary.
good, but
there's such thing as too much confidence.
Too much confidence.
It can be annoying.
It's raining confidence.
Especially certain men.
Sure.
Why you're looking at me is PUA, pickup artist. The context of this norm is wider nowadays. It is not only from like your boyfriend or girlfriend is PUA, but also like your boss and your teacher is PUA.
That can exist in every relationship in life.
Yeah, just like taking control of the relationships that makes you feel that your like dignity
Tiny.
is diminished, like that kind of feeling. I think now there's a lot of people think that they know too much and they want to take control of you, and they think if you don't like do this in a way that they told you, you will fail. It's so annoying, and I believe that is also kind of like people with like overconfidence would do, like PUA.
I don't think that it's something that we don't like as Generation Z. I think it's something that shouldn't exist.
In general.
In general.
I do think we're a generation that has our own opinions pretty much. So maybe depending on what the moral is, but a lot of the times we have our own way of thinking. But I think everything is subjective. So I do think it's very interesting when people who don't understand the situation tell you to do something.
Never judge. Like never judge other people.
Yeah, it's okay to share, but
yeah, or like to tell me
impose.
That the word supposed to, like we're not supposed to do anything.
Right. Okay, now let's see whether any of us have gotten the answer correct.
Wow.
Great.
Great.
Let me remind you, you're trying to predict the popular answer. Let's see. We got an A, we got an A, we got it.
It's an H, but I'm not sure why I drew it that way.
It's fine. Would you like to start explaining your
Yes, I'm an omnimedia operator. I do think social media and media in general right now is so popular, so I think as a Generation Z, so many of them would love a career operating the media.
What about you?
Like, why not? Who will refuse it as a job? They can play, like...
I would refuse it as a job.
Why?
Well, I don't like playing games, first of all. Neither do I like online games, and I don't like staring at a screen for the whole day, so I would not actually pick that job at all.
Yeah, I represent the others who...
The minority or the majority.
Yeah.
I think A is very attractive even for someone who don't like playing video games because you could play for a reason.
And you can earn money.
Sure.
No.
No.
If I were to try another profession, it's probably being an e-sport player. As an e-sport player, I want to know how it's like to turn my hobby into my career and be able to stand and compete on the global stage to win the title for my team and for my country. But honestly, I believe every Gen Zer will say many different things because these are all exciting career paths. If I had the chance, I would love to try them all.
All right, I think that concludes our games, our question and answers for our Generation Z. Thank you so much for being with us here today. I've personally learned so much about my generation, our generation, through this discussion. And I would love to know more about what Generation Zers think about themselves. So let's now hear some of the speeches brought by some of our Generation Zers. Ooh.
When I was in primary school, it was quite hard for me to have my mind concentrated on books. I would easily get distracted by movies, games, and TV series. So my parents kept producing inventive methods to motivate me. There was a routine that we had to talk every night for about 30 minutes, sharing what we saw and heard. And one night, my dad told me that he was a huge fan of wuxia novel, when he was my age. However, at that time, books were luxuries. Together with his classmates, they decided to borrow books from libraries and make a transcription as soon as possible, so that they could read the copy afterwards. Sounds a bit miserable, isn't it? And that was the picture in the 70s and 80s of the last century. Later, my cousin, who was born in 1994, became attracted to foreign cultures because she sometimes watched imported TV programs with translated Chinese subtitles or funny dubbing when she was little. However, she still yearned for a better access to know more about what was happening outside our country. Things get changed when it comes to Generation Z, who are blessed with an abundance of knowledge and information, and are also known as the internet natives. So today, as a member of Generation Z, I want to share some good news and some bad news. The bad news first. On one hand, we are more negatively influenced by modern technology compared with the previous generations. Algorithms create numerous cultural cocoons, so we unconsciously read the news by narrowcasting rather than broadcasting. For the most part, Generation Zs are surrounded with people who share the same opinions and even the same prejudices. On the other hand, we are deeply divided. Pew Research once did a study, and they found that at this moment, we're more polarized and we're more divided than we have ever been in history. Some people draw a clear line between us and them, and some people exploit fear and skepticism when we desperately need unity. So faced with today's facts, the good news about Generation Z is that more of us have been aware of the problems. More of us have a strong desire to reverse the situation, and more people will join us in the cause for good. We are a group of young people who believe in the importance of true equality. When we encourage more women to devote their time and energy to their career, their passion, and their dreams, I know that we help to take a huge step towards gender equality. When we build online communities that are filled with compassion and empathy, so that the voices of those disadvantaged groups could also be heard and their lives be changed, I realize that we contribute to a more harmonious society. I am sure that we are on the right track, because unlike the previous generations, we give due respect to everybody's life choices. Lincoln once said that the old dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. We are that group of young men and women who rise to the occasions. Since the reform and opening up, from 1970s to the early 90s, previous generations have come a long way to get here. And still, the road ahead of us, the Generation Z, is also lined up with difficulties and challenges, and sometimes even misunderstandings. It is supposed to be hard, but the hard is what makes it great. Thank you.
When I look at the human race and its history, I see a story of self-sacrifice and courage. Every generation creates its champions that stoke the flames of human ambition and progress, and erect the platform needed by their children to reach newer heights. From the discovery of fire, to the construction of the pyramids, to the development of the scientific theory in the 17th century, humanity has never ceased to push the boundaries of what's possible. Generation Z finds itself at the beginning of a new century, rising from the missteps and failures of their predecessors and learning from the milestones of champions past. Our generation faces some of the biggest challenges ever to be encountered by the human race. The likes of global warming and climate change threaten the existence of our very species. Income inequality, the prevailing discrimination against gender, distrust amongst various ethnicities and races. These are the shortcomings of our society, and it is our responsibility to get rid of these issues. Courage and creativity are the most endearing qualities of Generation Z. Gone are the days of strict conservative mindset where people aren't free enough to think for themselves. We have been exposed to countless means for the propagation of media across the world right from the time we were born, from the television to computer devices to mobile phones, all of which can share informations, ideas, opinions, and entertainment from any corner of the globe just with the tap of a button. This vast accessibility of media is what exposes our generation to a broad spectrum of ideas and possibilities. It is no wonder that we have so much creativity and potential. Courage is yet another cornerstone of Generation Z. There are young artists, engineers, musicians, and filmmakers, and so many other talented individuals that are changing our world. The news is filled with stories about young college graduates coming up with solutions to complex modern-day problems. Tech startups making the thought-controlled prosthetics for differently abled people. Abstract artists symbolizing our fears and our struggles through their art. Alternative music composers combining elements of music from different cultures and bringing us together. Filmmakers coming up with bold new movies expressing the struggles and fears of minority groups throughout the world. A friend of mine, Ms. Tinali from Sri Lanka, said something that I found to be really profound. She said, and I quote, "The letter Z is the last letter of the English alphabet. This is the representation of our generation. We are to put an end to all social evils, from gender discrimination to racism to climate change. I believe this is an excellent way to demonstrate the responsibilities that our generation has to shoulder. Let us pave the way for a bright and exciting future for ourselves and our children together." Thank you.
The era of our generation, best known as Gen Z, with an agenda already set for the future. Famously known as the digital natives, we were born into a world of peak technological advancement where information was immediately accessible and social media increasingly ubiquitous. But it does not stop there. Our diversification and cultural acceptance has given us a strong sense of unity, to fight for the common cause and to work for the greater good. But that's not to say that our generation has it easy and doesn't come with struggles. Every generation has its own cycle of adversities, and Gen Z has already started to face them. With the beginning and the onset of pandemic, it is most likely that this is going to be our field for the future. That's not to say that Gen Z is pessimistic. In fact, we are prepared for it as optimistic as ever. Now, one of the things that I like about our generation is that we're pragmatic and our financial thinking can break barriers. We will dedicate ourselves to the things that we're passionate about, and we sort of despise the 9-to-5 work hour week or that desk job that keeps on repeating in vicious cycles day after day, where people only look forward to weekends and are so burnt out that even just spending time in the office makes them seem like they've done work today. We together have an aim for choosing innovation over that burnout. So it is important that elders acknowledge that youngsters have been blessed with knowledge, just as how those very elders have been blessed with wisdom. Two very different things. Now, this leads to one of the misconceptions about our generation, is that we're the luckiest generation, while that might seem plausible, we need to remember that every generation has its own share of struggles. Yet another misconception that there is about our generation is that we have low emotional quotient, that we are very disrespectful and very rigid. Now this is far from the truth. We are accepting, we are empathetic to our peers, but at the same time, we know how to establish boundaries. Our parents from a young age have taught us to be flexible, to mold ourselves according to the expectations of others, at all costs just to avoid conflict. And while it may have been reasonable for them to do so, it's not reasonable for us as the members of our generation, that very same thing, or make that same mistake that our parents might have. To be able to say no to others is not being disrespectful, is to establish a clear dichotomy between the self and the other. If we accept others, I am 100% sure that we as well will be accepted. It is a hard journey to find our own identities and to know who we are and what we do. But it's also important to remember that the rest of the members of this generation are here for you as your community, supporting you every step along the way and giving the very respect that you deserve.
As social members, we put labels on people around us all the time. Right, wrong, success, failure, lucky, unlucky. On the other hand, we often disagree with the labels assigned to us by others. Thus, for good or for bad, labels represent an influence on our identity that is often beyond our control. But if there is one lesson we could bring back from today's episode, I believe it would be the commonly shared desire from our Generation Z members to resist against the labels that are put on them. As the most diversified generation, today's Gen Z is aware of the compelling expectations that labels bring upon them, and more than willing to move beyond that false sense of familiarity and enjoy life itself. As for you, Gen Z members in front of the screen, if there is anything that you would like to share with us about yourself, your friends, your society, and the world, you name it, Youth Power will always be on your side. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.